It was a cold, quiet night in the city. The streets were empty and the sky was dark. Most people were sleeping. But one man was walking alone. He wore a black hoodie. His hands were in his pockets. His face was calm. He didn't speak to anyone. He just walked, slowly, like he had nowhere to go. Two police officers sat in a patrol car nearby. They noticed the man. "Look at him," one officer said. "Yeah," the other replied. "He fits the description." The officers got out of the car. "Excuse me, sir," one of them said. The man stopped walking. He turned slowly and looked at the officers. His eyes were deep, but quiet. "Do you live around here?" they asked. The man said nothing for a moment. Then he replied, "I'm just walking." "Can we see some ID?" one officer asked. The man calmly said, "I don't have it with me." The officers looked at each other. One of them moved closer. "Put your hands where I can see them," he said. The man slowly raised his hands. "We're going to search you," the second officer said. The man didn't fight. He didn't argue. He just said one thing. "You're making a mistake." The officers didn't listen. They handcuffed him. He still didn't resist. People nearby began to watch. Someone started recording with their phone. "Why are you arresting him?" a woman asked. "He matches the description," one officer replied. "What description?" the woman asked again. But they didn't answer. They put the man in the back of the police car. One of the officers checked the man's pockets. No phone, no wallet, no ID. He's clean. "Nothing on him," the officer said. "Let's take him to the station," the other replied. But just before they drove off, the man looked up and said something very softly. "Let me make one phone call. Just one." The officers laughed. "You don't even have a phone," the man said. "You have one." One officer sighed and handed him a phone. The man dialed a number. He turned away so they couldn't hear much. He spoke very quietly. Just a few words. Then he gave the phone back. "Who did you call?" one officer asked. The man just looked out the window and said nothing. 5 minutes passed. The cops joked with each other. But then, a black SUV pulled up behind them. Two men in black suits stepped out. They looked serious. One of them showed a badge, a government badge, not from the local police. He walked straight to the police car window and said, "Release him, now." The officers were confused. "Who are you?" one asked. The man in the suit said, "You have no idea who you're holding." The officers looked at each other. Something wasn't right. The man in the back seat smiled. "Just a little." The officers stepped aside. The man in the suit opened the door and helped the man in the hoodie out. "I'm sorry this happened," the suit said to him. The man in the hoodie nodded and walked to the SUV. The cops were left standing there, speechless. "Who
Is he?
one officer whispered. His partner pulled out a phone and searched something in a private database. His face changed. He turned pale. "Oh my God," he said. "He's on the list." Back inside the SUV, the man finally spoke. He looked at the suit and said, "I told you this would happen one day." The suit replied, "We'll take care of it. We always do." As the SUV drove away, the city lights reflected in the window. The man looked out quietly. He didn't look angry. He looked tired, like a man who had seen too much, lost too much. He wasn't just any man. He had secrets, power, a history no one knew. And tonight, that history almost got him killed. But this was just the beginning, because the world didn't know who he was. Not yet. The black SUV moved silently through the city streets. Inside, the man who had just been arrested sat quietly. His hands were free now, but his mind was heavy. The man in the black suit who had helped him looked over and asked, "Are you okay?" The man gave a small nod, but he didn't smile. He hadn't smiled in years. 10 minutes earlier, the police didn't know who they had arrested. To them, he was just another black man walking late at night. But the moment he made that phone call, everything changed. He didn't call a friend. He didn't call a lawyer. He called someone powerful, someone who owed him everything. The man on the other end of the call didn't ask any questions. He just said, "I'm on my way." Now, as they drove past the city lights, the man in the hoodie looked out the window. He remembered a different time, a different life. 5 years ago, he wore expensive suits, lived in a big house, and worked in places no one knew about. He helped people, stopped crimes before they happened, and sometimes worked with the government on missions no one could speak of. He had a name then, a respected name. But one day, everything changed. It was a sunny afternoon when he got the news. His younger brother had been shot by police, mistaken identity, no weapon, no crime, just wrong place, wrong time. His brother was only 19. That day broke him. That day he walked away from everything. He left his home, his job, his name. He became a ghost. He decided he would live among the forgotten, not to hide, but to understand. He wanted to feel the pain others felt every day. He walked the same streets. He slept in shelters. He helped quietly, giving food, money, and sometimes protection without ever saying who he was, but he always knew. One day, someone would notice, and that night it happened. In the SUV, the man in the suit finally spoke again. "We need to talk," he said. The man nodded. "There's a risk now," the suit said. "Someone might have leaked your name." "When I searched the database, your file was flagged." The man turned his head. "What do you mean flagged?" The suit looked down. "I mean, someone looked at your file recently, someone without clearance." The man took a deep breath. Then it's started. In a hidden government office across town, an agent stared at his computer. He wasn't supposed to access the file, but curiosity took over. The file was marked, "Shadow Falcon, do not disclose, level 5 access only." He clicked anyway. Saw the photo. He saw the name. He saw the missions, the clearances, the awards, all secret. And worst of all, he saw the note at the bottom. If compromised, eliminate all threats. His hands began to shake. He had just made a very big mistake. Back in the SUV, the man looked at his old friend. "What happens now?" he asked. The suit replied, "We get you out. We erase your name again. We make this go away." The man shook his head slowly. "No, not this time." The suit looked confused. "What do you mean?" The man said. "They need to know. People need to see what happens when you forget a man's worth because of his skin, or because he's quiet, or because he walks alone at night. I won't hide anymore." That night they stopped at a safe house. The man took a shower, changed his clothes, and sat by a window. He stared at an old photo, him and his brother laughing. That was the last time he had smiled. He whispered, "I'm sorry I wasn't there." A tear rolled down his cheek, but his eyes were no longer tired. They were focused. The next morning, news began to spread. A video had gone viral. A black man arrested without reason, then released by men in suits. People asked, "Who is he? Why did the police let him go? Why did they look so scared?" No one had answers, but one thing was clear. This man was not who they thought he was. He wasn't just some guy. He was someone with a past, and now a purpose. The man stood in front of the mirror. He looked at himself, not with pride, not with shame, but with silence. He slowly pulled off the black hoodie. Underneath, he wore a plain white t-shirt. No badge, no name, no past. But the man in the mirror was not ordinary. He had lived 2 lives, and now both were colliding. 5 years ago, he was known by another name, Malik Rivers. To the public, he was a rising star, a tech genius, a business leader, and a quiet supporter of justice programs in poor neighborhoods. But behind the scenes, he was more than that. He worked with government teams on secret missions, not as a spy, but as a strategist, a planner. someone who could solve problems no one else could see. He stopped cyber attacks before they happened. He found ways to track criminals that even satellites couldn't catch. He was smart, careful, respected, but he kept it all hidden. He didn't want fame. He didn't want power. He just wanted peace. Then his brother was killed. The police said it was an accident. They said he matched the description. Just like they said to Malik a few nights ago, that moment changed everything. Malik walked away from everything he had built. His company, his partners, his money. He gave it all up and he disappeared. For 5 years, he wore a new mask. Not a physical mask, but a life, a fake name. Old clothes, cheap neighborhoods. He wanted to understand how people lived without protection, without power, without a voice. He saw mothers cry because rent was too high. He saw kids drop out of school because no one believed in them. He saw pain everywhere, and no one watching. So he stayed quiet. But he helped in small ways. Sometimes he fixed broken lights in poor homes. Sometimes he gave money to someone hungry. Sometimes he just listened. People never knew who he was, but they remembered his kindness. In the one neighborhood, they called him Brother Malik, thinking it was just a nickname. In another, they called him the Fixer, because he always made things right. But now, after the arrest, people were starting to ask questions. The video of him being arrested was still going viral, but something new had been added. Someone leaked a blurry photo from years ago, Malik at an award event, shaking hands with powerful people. The caption read, "Is this the same man?" More people started digging. A blogger found an old government report with redacted names, but one name was not fully blacked out, M. Rivers. Then a journalist tweeted, "There's more to this story. Who is this man they tried to hide?" Back. At the safe house, Malik sat with his old friend, the man in the black suit. The sun was rising, but the air still felt heavy. Malik stood on a rooftop, looking over the city. He had once helped protect this city, in secret, from the shadows. But now, the shadows were watching him. Back at the safe house, Malik's old friend Marcus paced the room. He had just received an urgent message from an old contact in the government. "They've shut down your access," the message said. "They're erasing his name from all protected files." Malik was no longer under protection. He had become a threat. Marcus turned to Malik and said, "They've pulled the plug. You're out." Malik didn't look surprised. He just asked, "How deep does this go?" Marcus hesitated, then opened a locked briefcase. Inside was a file with one title stamped in red letters: "The Shadow List." Malik's eyes narrowed. "I thought that was just a rumor." Marcus replied, "It's real, and you're on it." The Shadow List was a secret government document. It held the names of people who had once worked in secret missions. Off the record, off the books. People like Malik. People too powerful to leave unguarded, but also too dangerous to leave free. Each name had a level. Level 1, protected forever. Level 2, watched closely. Level 3, erased if exposed. Malik's name had just been moved to Level 3. That meant one thing: eliminate if needed. Malik sat down slowly. "So they've decided I'm better off gone." Marcus nodded. "Someone inside fears you'll speak up, that you'll expose something." Malik stared at the floor, then said, "Maybe I should." Flashback. Years ago, during a mission overseas, Malik discovered something dark, a secret trade. Powerful men selling weapons, to both sides of a war. He was told to stay quiet. He refused. That was when his life changed. A warning was sent to him, in the form of a fire that destroyed his lab. He escaped. Barely. That's when he went dark. Now it seemed someone wanted that old truth to stay buried. Meanwhile, deep inside a government building, a meeting was taking place. 5 men sat at a long table, One man tapped a folder. "This man, Malik Rivers, he's a problem." Another replied, "He was silent for 5 years. Why now?" "Because we made him visible," the first man answered. "That arrest went public. People are asking who he is. If he speaks, everything falls." A third man asked, "What do you suggest?" The answer was simple: eliminate the problem. Back in the city, Malik walked into a public library. He sat at a computer and logged into a system only a few people in the country could access. He typed a code, then another. A screen appeared. Shadow Falcon. Status: compromised. He clicked. On his own file. There was a note at the top. Access to all networks removed. Monitoring in place. Do not approach. Malik scrolled down. Under threat level, it now read, High risk. Speak order issued. He leaned back in the chair and whispered to himself, "They're scared." Suddenly, he felt a hand on his shoulder. It was a young man, maybe 25, wearing a hoodie. "I know who you are," the man said. Malik stood up slowly. "You don't want to get involved," he said. But the young man shook his head. "You helped. My cousin last year gave him money when his dad died. We never forgot." Malik looked at him carefully. "Why are you here?" the young man replied. "Because others are looking for you. But not to help you. I overheard them. Men with suits, guns, unmarked cars. They're planning something." Malik thanked him and left quickly. He knew what was happening. The city was becoming a trap. Back at the safe house, Marcus was on the phone. "Yes, I understand, but he was one of ours," he said. The voice on the other end replied coldly, "Not anymore." The line went dead. Marcus turned to see Malik standing in the doorway. "They've sent people after me, haven't they?" Malik asked. Marcus nodded. "They'll try to erase everything. Your records, your story, even you." Malik walked to the window, looking out again. "Then we don't run," he said. "We fight." He picked up a phone and made a call to someone from his past. A woman answered. He spoke just 3 words. "It's time." She paused, then said, "Understood." Far away, in a dark room filled with screens, a red alert popped up. Shadow. Falcon. Activated, someone whispered. "He's back." The city was no longer quiet. At every corner, someone was watching. In every shadow, danger waited. Malik Rivers was not just a name anymore. He was a target. After the call, he knew there was no going back. The woman he had called was Jada, a former agent like him, someone he trusted with his life. They hadn't spoken in years, not since the fire that nearly killed them both. But when he said, "It's time," she didn't ask questions. She just said, "Understood." Malik and Marcus moved carefully now. They couldn't stay in one place for too long. "They'll try to track your phone," Marcus said. Malik nodded. "I know. They probably already are." He took the phone apart and dropped the pieces in different trash cans as they walked. It was like old times again, always looking over his shoulder. But something had changed. This wasn't a mission in another country. This was home. And this time, the enemy wasn't a stranger. It was the system that once protected him. At a hidden location, Jada opened an old laptop. She entered a code Malik had once created. A secure message popped up. "They're coming for me. I need access to the list." Jada froze. She knew what he meant. Not just the shadow list, the real list, the list that held names of powerful people connected to the secret trade Malik had uncovered years ago. Men who started wars to sell weapons. Men who smiled on TV while destroying lives in silence. Malik had stolen that list before he vanished. Now, he needed it back. Meanwhile, a team of armed men drove through the city, unmarked vans, silenced weapons, no badges. They weren't police. They weren't FBI. They were cleaners, paid to make problems disappear. At the head of the team was a cold man named Victor Lane. He was the one who had erased people like Malik before. He had no emotion, no questions, just a job. Find him, end it, leave no trail, he told his team. Malik and Marcus moved to an old underground subway station, abandoned for years. This was one of our drop spots, Marcus said. No cameras, no signals. Malik smiled faintly. You always had good hiding places, but even here, they knew time was short. Malik opened an old backpack and pulled out a laptop. This is the copy I saved, he said. The list? Malik nodded. Encrypted, hidden, but not safe forever. Marcus stared at the screen. There were names, faces, bank records, deals made in war zones. Money moved in silence, and at the bottom, something new. A code. One even Malik didn't recognize. Suddenly, there was a sound, a soft click. Then another. Footsteps. Malik grabbed Marcus's arm. We've been found. Outside the old station, Victor Lane gave the signal. Go quiet, he whispered. 10 men moved in, one by one. They entered the darkness, weapons ready. Inside, Malik moved fast. He typed a few lines. Into the laptop, a message sent to Jada. We're compromised. Sending backup files now. Then he shut the laptop and smashed the screen. No one gets this, he whispered. He handed the drive to Marcus. Run. Take this to her. What about you? Marcus asked. Malik gave him a look, calm but serious. I'll hold them. Marcus didn't want to leave, but he knew Malik had made his choice. He ran into the tunnel, disappearing into the dark. Seconds later, the cleaners stormed in, but Malik was gone from the room. Instead, they found smoke, mirrors, and noise. A distraction. Victor. Lane growled. Split up, he's still here. Malik moved like a shadow, silent, fast. One by one, he took down the men. Not to kill, but to escape. He didn't want blood, just time. But Victor was waiting. He stepped out of the shadows, gun pointed. I remember you, he said. Malik Rivers, the ghost who got away. Malik raised his hands. No gun, no fight. Victor smirked. Then this is easy. Suddenly, a loud crash. Smoke burst from a side tunnel. A figure stepped out. Fast, focused, and familiar. It was Jada. She kicked. The gun from Victor's hand in one smooth move. He stumbled back, shocked. Malik smiled. Took you long enough. Jada tossed him a headset. Time to go. They ran. As they escaped through the tunnels, Victor yelled after them. You can't hide forever, Malik. They're coming for both of you. But Malik didn't stop. He had the truth now, and he had the list. And this time, he had no fear. The world was waking up, but in a dark room above a quiet street, Malik Rivers stared at a screen glowing in the night. The file was open now. The real list, names, faces, deals, secrets, all tied together by one word, power. Jada stood beside him. She looked tired, but her eyes were sharp. This list could shake the world, she said. Malik nodded. I didn't want to use it. Then why now? She asked. Malik turned to the window, looking out at the city. Because they're hunting the wrong people, he said. People like me, people like us, and no one knows why. Far away, a news studio prepared for the morning broadcast. The anchor, a woman named Cara Leone, sipped coffee as her producer handed her a note. You're not going to believe this, he whispered. She read the message. Her eyes widened. A man named Malik Rivers has evidence, government secrets, war crimes. He wants to speak. Live. She looked up. Is this real? The producer nodded. He contacted us directly, said, it's time the truth comes out. At the same time, inside a private government building, alarms were going off. A screen flashed red. Shadow Falcon going public. Victor Lane slammed his fist on the table. He's trying to speak. We stop him, now. But he's reaching. The public, one agent said. If we go loud, it'll make it worse. Victor didn't care. No more warnings. Find him. End it. Back in the safe room, Malik prepared for the interview. Marcus had made it back, safe and alive, with the backup drive. Malik connected the files to a private stream. Jada looked at him. "You sure you want to do this?" The city was silent, but the world was loud. Every TV channel, every phone screen, every social media post, they were all talking about Malik Rivers. In a cold prison cell, Malik sat alone. No windows, no clock, only silence. But he smiled, because outside those walls, the truth was alive, and it had his name on it. Jada and Marcus waited in a hidden apartment watching the news. Protests were rising. People marched with signs. "Justice for Malik! Truth is not a crime! He saved lives!" Marcus turned to Jada. "They can't hide it anymore." She nodded. "He didn't just give us the truth. He gave the people a voice." In the government building, chaos had started. People demanded investigations. Senators were questioned. And Victor Lane, he was nowhere to be found. Back in the cell, a guard entered. He looked nervous. "They're moving you," he said. Malik stood up slowly. "Where to?" "Unknown. Higher orders." Malik knew what that meant. They were trying again to erase him. The van drove into the night. No lights, no plates, just silence. But halfway through the route, the van stopped. Tires screeched. Smoke filled the air. Suddenly, the back door burst open. Jada, Marcus, and a team of loyal agents who still believed in Malik. "Come with us," she said. Malik didn't ask questions. He stepped out and ran with them into the night. In a secret bunker beneath the city, Malik was finally safe, for now. Reporters sent requests every hour. News stations offered interviews. But Malik said one thing: "I already spoke. Now it's your turn to listen." Meanwhile, Victor Lane was found, not by Malik, but by justice. The files Malik had released were too powerful, too detailed, too real. Lane was arrested. His name, once feared, was now a symbol of corruption. 3 months later, a court hearing was held. Malik Rivers walked into the room with his head high. The world watched. He wasn't in handcuffs anymore. He was free. But the judge still had questions. "You broke laws, Mr. Rivers. You leaked classified files." Malik replied, "I did, but I also stopped wars. I saved lives, and I exposed criminals." The room was silent. Then the judge said, "Sometimes the truth is bigger than the rules. You are free to go." Cheers broke out outside the courtroom. People cried, people clapped. Malik stepped out into the light, not hiding, not running, just walking forward. Later that night, he sat with Jada and Marcus on a rooftop, looking over the city once again. The same city that once hunted him, now respected him. Marcus laughed. "You know you've started something big, right?" Malik nodded. "I didn't want to be a hero. I just didn't want to be a lie." Jada smiled. "You're more than that. You're a symbol now." Months passed. Malik didn't run to fame. He didn't write a book. He didn't take money. He started something simple. A school. A place for young people to learn truth, justice, and courage. He named it the Falcon Center, not after war, but after freedom. One day, a young boy asked him, "Were you really a spy?" Malik smiled. "Something like that." The boy grinned. "Cool. I want to be like you." Malik looked into his eyes and said softly, "No, be better." Malik Rivers couldn't be erased, because you can't erase truth. You can't erase courage. You can't erase a man who chose the light, even when it meant walking through the darkest shadows. 6 months had passed. The world had changed, or so it seemed. Malik Rivers was now a guest speaker at universities. His story had inspired documentaries, books, and movements. But deep down, he knew something others didn't. He hadn't told everything. Not yet. One evening, he received a message on a device only 3 people in the world knew about. It blinked once. "They're awake. One survived. Trust no one. Malik's heart dropped, not because he didn't understand the message, but because he did. The shadow list wasn't complete. He called Jada immediately. Check the files again. Line 47, the coded name, 0 point. Jada replied. That file was corrupted. It was never opened. Malik paused. Then we didn't kill the root. We just cut off the branches. That night, on a hidden server somewhere in another country, a black-hooded figure watched a video of Malik's speech. He smiled coldly, then whispered, "You were never the only one, Malik. You just made the first move." Back in the city, strange things started happening. A whistleblower disappeared. A journalist was found dead, ruled a suicide. A senator resigned without a word. Malik knew the signs. He had seen this pattern before. Only one group worked this way. A group even he had feared. The architects. Jada looked at him across the table. "I thought we won." Malik replied, "We won the battle, not the war." Marcus added, "Then what's next?" Malik stared at a blank wall, where a new map would soon be drawn, and said, "We go deeper. We find the rest. And this time, we don't leave any shadows behind."